Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are discussing Pinocchio on Disney+, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks. This is the latest Disney live-action remake, and this time it's Pinocchio getting the technological upgrade that nobody asked for. But before we go any further, could you please be a dear, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really does make all of the difference to this channel, and we thank you if you do. This is a bit of a different review for you because I hate these Disney live action remakes. Who asked for these? Seriously, where was the clamour, the fanfare from the public that desperately needed to see the likes of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in real life? And why is it that the public are actually still watching those original animated classics nearly, 50, 60 years after they came out? Maybe it's because they're really good and probably should just be left alone and don't need touching or changing, modernising in any way, shape or form, but that's just a theory. It also begs the question of why the hell am I paying for Disney Plus in the first place? I pay for Disney Plus so that I have access to the likes of the original Pinocchio, Dumbo, Fox and the Hound, one of my all-time favourites. I'm certainly not paying £6 a month for you to spend it on making absolute trash live-action remakes that do not hold up a candle to what the original was, that's nearly 60 years older than it, had half the budget and half of the studio working behind it too. Bigger, louder and more expensive doesn't mean better. And yes, Pinocchio suffers from exactly all of the same problems the other live-action remakes have. The big one being, it's completely unnecessary. You end up in this strange paradox where you can either copy the original beat for beat in fear of upsetting people, but you still upset people because, well, what's the point of doing that? If we're doing it, we might as well do something new with it. But if you do something new with it, you're going to annoy the people who love the original. And here's the answer to that riddle. Don't bother doing it. And this movie feels aware of that problem. So little has been changed in this new remake. I mean, parts of the film are utterly beat for beat. I mean, character designs are identical. What they have chopped and changed to the movie is all of the stuff that gave the original charm to begin with. They've changed the messaging of this one to a point that the message barely even exists. The whole point of Pinocchio was sort of to tell young boys to behave and not be naughty because there's consequences for your actions. But in this one, it's always just a matter of dumb luck. Pinocchio's always just in the wrong place at the wrong time, so well, there's nothing there to learn, really, except for he's just a bit unlucky, I suppose. Wow, that's got a really deep and impactful message. You've added jokes that are more relevant to the modern day, jokes that include things like Chris Pine or Pinocchio stopping to stare at a pile of horse crap, which I thought was the funniest joke in the film because it really was a metaphor of Disney looking at itself in the mirror. None of the new stuff offers anything at all. It's quite well known at this point that I have a blind spot when it comes to musicals. They're just not really my go-to. I very much have to be in the mood to watch a musical. I do find them all a little bit too samey. Usually a romance, have a few sing-songs in the middle and then they get together and there we go, musicals. But in this Pinocchio, they skip and cut so many of these songs. Things like When You Wish Upon a Star. Yeah, instead of actually having a song and dance number there, it's like you get the main character singing 2 lines of the song and then we're going to cut to a pratfall joke. That is criminal. You can't do that. They are some of the most memorable scenes of that original Pinocchio. And you're whittling them down to 30 seconds maximum. You know you messed up when the guy who doesn't really like musicals is telling you that is a criminally bad choice. The CGI was utterly appalling as well. It's all very clearly being spent on Pinocchio because everything else is horrible to look at. Figaro, the cat, awful, utterly awful. He never for a millisecond looked real. His interactions never looked real. Like, he never really looked like he was even standing on the ground. Like, he just sort of always seemed to be hovering on it. When Tom Hanks strokes him, it's like his body's here and Tom Hanks is just like doing that. It doesn't look like there's anything there that Tom Hanks is touching. Don't really understand what's going on with the performances in this movie either. It's like they don't know how they're meant to play these characters, whether or not they're meant to be complete and utter copies of what the original is, or if they're meant to be trying to do something new with it. There's scenes where Tom Hanks is really trying to put on an Italian accent like this, and then there's other times where he just sounds like Tom Hanks. It's really jarring. There's a girl who works at the circus and she talks like a modern day Londoner like this, like. And again, it's just like, hey, where did you come from? I thought this was meant to be set in Italy, isn't it? Why do you sound like someone I could walk past on the Hackney Marshes? This is exactly why I'm 10 times more excited to see Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio that comes out in December this year on Netflix. Because from the poster alone, I already get an idea that this is going to be different. I'm going to give the Disney Plus Pinocchio a 1 out of 10. This movie is hideous. I think it states perfectly what's wrong with Hollywood today. The film feels clunky, it feels soulless, you can hear the corporate decisions being made as the film plays. Let's put Woody from Toy Story in one of the cuckoo clocks. Why would we stop there? Let's put Elsa from Frozen in the other cuckoo clock. Kids these days all want to be on Instagram and YouTube, so rather than making the storyline about him doing this, that and the other, let's make it about him turning into an influencer. That's more modern. Talk about a horse being made by committee. I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. Annoyance is what I felt, actually. The best part of the movie for me was when it ended. But I also want to be clear about something. I am a hot-headed reviewer. I lock and load these bazookas and fire them off if the movie's not great, at least in my opinion. But that's the key word, in my opinion. If you loved it, that's great. I'm really glad, genuinely glad. I know that sounds sarcastic, but I am genuinely glad that you didn't suffer through a movie like I did. I don't want you to have a bad time at the cinema, but I can only offer you what I thought about it. So don't be disheartened if you actually walked away from this and thought, not bad. I have seen some people say, it's all right. I disagree, but that's the point of opinions. I'm just here giving catharsis for myself, really. But nonetheless, thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Pinocchio? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.